Well, that sucked. I mean, that was just 3 hours of total horse crap. No, check that. That was a whole season of total horse crap. I mean, sure, there was good games here and there. The first Dallas game was great. Seattle game was good. Comeback against New Orleans, that was good. But, man, I should have gotten drunk tonight. Didn't even buy any beer. It's just, okay. Here at the Buccaneers Observer, you know, me and Molly, we never call for firings. Just don't believe in it. But I'm going to say this. Todd, we got to execute better. Bowles, he just ain't it, man. I mean, we had some issues this year. There's no doubt about that. We had Brady's divorce, the FTX scandal, with him being involved in that, and the lawsuits and everything. You know, that's weighed heavy on him. I think the divorce and that stuff has really affected him more than people want to let on to. We had, you know, losing players. We lost Gronkowski, JPP, Ndamukong Suh, Whitehead, Ali Marpet. We had injuries. You know, Shaq Barrett out for the season. Jensen out for the season. You know, we've had the whole defense has been injured at one point or another, it seems like. Hicks was out for, the extended period. Vita was out. Everybody in the secondary was out as usual. Our wide receivers were out, hurt. Our free agents really amounted to nothing. I mean, Russell Gage had some decent games. He'd catch some passes every now and then, but I wouldn't say he was a deal breaker. Julio Jones didn't pan out like we had hoped. Akeem Hicks, just there's plenty of excuses. But the issue is that the whole team just underperformed this year. The whole team. I could understand if it was one unit, the receivers or the defensive line or whatever, but it was all of them. I mean, we didn't get any pressure up front. We got hardly any interceptions. Turnovers were just not a thing. We only got sacks when we blitzed, it seemed like. Our point scoring was horrible. We couldn't run. Everything sucked. Everything. I mean, I think the only thing you could say that was any good was Ryan Suckup. And I like the Camardo. Again, he had another tackle again tonight. The kickoff guy should not be tackling. Don't like that. But tough guy. So when you have the whole team underperforms, and we went into this year with huge expectations. Let's not fool ourselves. We were looking at, another Super Bowl or bust again. And we ended up backing into the playoffs with a losing record and getting blown out by the Dallas Cowboys. When the whole team is underperforming like that, you have to point at the head coach. It's just how it is. But the icing on the cake, and here's what really makes me say this, is that Todd Bowles he's not just a defensive coordinator, he's a secondary guy. That's where he came from. That's his specialty. That's what he specializes in, the secondary. And all season long, we have had huge breakdowns in coverage. In this Dallas game, they didn't beat us. We beat ourselves again. Me and Molly talked about that in the prediction for the game. As long as we don't beat ourselves, we're a top 5 team in this league. But we just shoot ourselves in the foot. But our breakdowns in coverage were ridiculous. And it's just gone on all year. In the Panthers game, that we won, and everybody was like, oh, we're back on track. I thought we were too. I watched it on all 22. Now, the reason why they didn't whoop us is because Sam Darnold sucks. There were at least 4 times we had coverage breakdowns for a touchdown. Big, long bombs, open receivers down the field. Sam Darnold just didn't see them. We've had this all year long. And that's Todd Bowles' specialty. Now, when your specialty is secondary, and your secondary is screwing up basic stuff, and then the whole rest of the team is not performing well, you got to say it's Bowles. You got to say it's Bowles. Now, some people will say, okay, let's fire Byron Leftwich, which he's going to get fired. That's not going to solve the issue. That's not going to help our secondary. It's not going to help our defense get pressure up the middle. It's not going to help our tackling. You know, maybe if Todd Bowles gets his guys in there, you don't know, but it's just too much. He was handed a Super Bowl winning team, and this is what we ended up with. You have to say, he's just not the guy. I'm sorry, he's not the guy. Now, will Brady come back? Personally, I don't think so. At least not to the Bucs. But I watched his press conference, and both him and Bowles were not as emotional as I expected, you know, either upset or whatever. They were just kind of bleh. But at the end of it, Brady thanked the press, and he got kind of choked up, and he started thanking the fans, and he talked about how great of an organization this was to play for, which made me go, well, you know, maybe he will come back if there's some changes. He's not going to come back to this mess. But honestly, I think he's done with football. I think he is. I think he's got too much stuff going on in the outside world to effectively focus on football. And the season was just horrible. It was just horrible. We beat ourselves tonight. We got no pressure up front. We had broken coverage. We had dropped balls, missed tackles, miscommunication all over the field between Brady and receivers and the offensive linemen, the secondary, the linebackers. At one point, I saw Devin White and Levante David yelling at each other, you know, because they just screwed up in their coverage. Oh, and the refs didn't help out either. You know, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the refs, but they sucked. That Parsons, when he was in the offensive huddle and Jensen had to push him out, that's a penalty. You're not allowed to do that. We had a defensive pass interference on Godwin on a third down that even the commentators were like, yeah, that's pass interference, uncalled. The 2-point attempt, the hold on Godwin, uncalled. Again, the commentators pointed that one out, said, yeah. And then that hit on Gage at the end of the game where he got carted off the field, that was a hit to the head and neck area on a defenseless receiver. That was really blatant. But, you know, it is what it is. It wouldn't have mattered. The refs could have given us all the penalties in the world, and we still would have lost this game. How about their kicker missing 4 extra points? I've never seen that before. I bet he's not even on the plane ride home. He's gone for sure. Oof. That was crazy. But, you know, this is a sad part of the year. You know, our season's over. And, you know, we're all going to be looking forward to the draft and seeing what team we can build next year. We're not going to know a lot of stuff for a long time, whether Brady's coming back, what's going to happen with the coaching staff. I imagine Leftwich is going to be the first one. He's going to be the first scapegoat. He'll get axed pretty quick, which that ain't going to help. You know, just this is a horrible season. Horrible performance out there today. I hate it. I hate it for Brady. I hate it for all the fans. You know, but it is what it is. All right, guys. I'm going to do the breakdown on this All-22 and see what kind of disaster this was. It was a disaster. Just a little bit I could see. You know, we were just screwing up all over the field, everywhere. We're unprepared on basic stuff. All right. So anyhow, I'll have video out as soon as the All-22 comes out. And until next time, go Bucs.